The Big Bang Theory finale scene that disappointed the audience. The audience didn't react. Hello everyone, my name is Alana. Welcome to my channel. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And give this video a like. Up when the live crowd failed to respond to a specific scenario in The Big Bang Theory, it turned out to be a letdown. A special 2-episode send-off marked the conclusion of The Big Bang Theory's 12-season run on television in 2019. They were generally well received, but one particular revelation in particular didn't resonate with viewers. Producer and writer Peter Chakos discussed how he didn't receive the response he anticipated when he revealed the Wolowitz children in Jessica Radloff's book, The Big Bang Theory, the definitive inside story of the epic hit series. For background, the first glimpse of Howard and Bernadette's children was provided in the finale. Michael and Hallie, who ought to have been well-known, were just unpopular with the audience. Constance, Georgie and Mandy's daughter, was born after nearly a whole season. Unlike the Wolowitz children, CBS isn't waiting until the very end of the prequel to physically reveal infant Cease, though it's unknown what the future holds for her at this point. She has actually already made a few appearances in young Sheldon, and because Georgie and Mandy might wind up getting married, expect to see her in more major roles in the future. This alone is a fantastic method to make sure that viewers aren't as uninterested in the newest Cooper relative as they were in Howard and Bernadette's kids. The lives of Georgie, Mandy, and Cease might potentially serve as the basis for the upcoming prequel to The Big Bang Theory, depending on how CBS intends to proceed with young Sheldon's story. Given how engrossed viewers have been in the trio's journey thus far, CBS should at least take this into consideration. Related, what is the new spin-off of The Big Bang Theory? The 5 Greatest Opportunities. The Coopers are about to undergo significant changes as a result of George's cheating scandal and subsequent death. Cease's frequent appearances aid in character development even if she doesn't actually have a big influence on the weekly plot of the show. By doing this, CBS successfully keeps Howard and Bernadette's children from experiencing the failure of The Big Bang Theory. For over a decade, The Big Bang Theory captured our hearts, leaving us invested in the lives of its lovable nerdy crew. From Sheldon's eccentricities to Penny and Leonard's will, they love story, the show gave us a roller coaster of emotions, humor, and moments we'll never forget. But when the series finale aired in May 2019, one particular scene left fans scratching their heads. You'd think that after 12 seasons, The Big Bang Theory would have perfected every scene, every moment, and every ending. But unfortunately, the reality was far from it. What was supposed to be the climax of an epic and beloved show turned out to be one of the most disappointing moments in TV history. It wasn't a plot twist. It wasn't a major character departure. It was something much more subtle but equally impactful. The audience didn't react. If you were watching the finale live, you might have noticed something strange. One of the most highly anticipated scenes was met with an almost eerily quiet response from the studio audience. Let's break down this moment and why it left fans both confused and frustrated, and why it became a point of contention in an otherwise nostalgic and emotional final episode. In the final episode of The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon Cooper and Amy Farrah Fowler, who had spent so many seasons of the show trying to figure out their quirky relationship, finally get their moment in the spotlight. After years of ups and downs, Amy and Sheldon both receive the Nobel Prize in Physics for their groundbreaking work in superasymmetry. It's a culmination of everything they've worked towards: Sheldon's obsession with science, Amy's intelligence, and their combined partnership. For many fans, this moment was the ultimate payoff. Sheldon had always been the outcast, the odd man in the group, so seeing him win the Nobel Prize, alongside his wife Amy, was meant to be a monumental moment that celebrated both his genius and his personal growth. This was his moment to shine, to prove that he was not just an eccentric, socially awkward scientist, but a man who had finally found balance in his life and love. But as Sheldon and Amy took the stage in Stockholm to accept their Nobel Prize, something unusual happened. The reaction, or lack thereof, from the audience was palpable. Despite the grandiosity of the achievement, there was an awkward silence. Sure, there were a few claps, but nothing like you would expect for such a monumental moment. We have to acknowledge the unique nature of The Big Bang Theory's live studio audience. This is a sitcom that thrives on quick-witted jokes, canned laughter, and audience engagement. But here, the laughter seemed oddly absent during a scene that was supposed to be celebratory. Instead of the usual laughter or applause, the response felt out of sync with what viewers were expecting. Many fans were left wondering if this awkward silence stemmed from the emotional weight of the moment. After all, the show was coming to an end, and the audience likely knew it was the final time they'd ever see Sheldon in his element, fully realizing his dream. The sense of finality may have subdued their usual excitement and energy, or maybe they didn't know how to react to a moment so grand, but so deeply personal for Sheldon and Amy. Another factor that may have contributed to the lack of energy could be the tone of the scene. While the Nobel Prize win was supposed to be a high point, the way it was written came across as unexpectedly subdued. Sheldon's usual neurotic behavior was tempered by the weight of the occasion, and his emotional response was quieter, more reflective, rather than the boisterous triumph fans may have imagined. It's as though the writers intentionally chose to downplay this pivotal moment in order to reflect Sheldon's character growth, but in doing so, they unintentionally undercut the celebratory atmosphere the audience was hoping for. As fans, we'd spent 12 seasons invested in Sheldon's growth, and his win at the Nobel Prize was supposed to feel like the pinnacle of everything we'd been through with him. But when the scene played out, it felt almost like an afterthought. The underwhelming reaction from the audience was just one part of a larger problem with the final. Its pacing and tone felt uneven. While The Big Bang Theory had always been a show rooted in humor, there was always a significant emotional element that was just as important. Think about Sheldon's relationship with Penny, Leonard, Howard, and Raj. They were the people who supported him, challenged him, and loved him. So when Sheldon and Amy finally won the Nobel, it should have been a collective victory for the whole group. Instead, the episode focused mainly on Sheldon and Amy's intimate moment of triumph, leaving the group's shared emotions in the background. The finale was too busy tying up loose ends with everyone else to properly highlight what this moment meant for the entire gang. Instead of a raucous celebration, the scene felt more like an awkward transition between two acts. As the scene played out and the credits began to roll, viewers at home couldn't help but feel the tension. Fans took to social media in droves to voice their surprise, disappointment, and confusion about the scene. Many took to Twitter, Reddit, and various fan forums, where they expressed their shock at how subdued the scene had been. One common sentiment shared was the idea that the finale was more about closure than celebration. Sheldon's victory, while important, wasn't really a celebration moment, but more of an understated passing of the torch for the character. But fans wanted more. After all the years of eccentricities, awkward encounters, and deeply emotional moments, this victory deserved more than an awkward round of applause and a quiet send-off. Imagine if the writers had played up the emotional payoff with more fanfare, perhaps a larger celebration with the entire group of friends, or a truly emotional reaction from Sheldon himself. Instead of having him simply acknowledge the victory, what if he had a more bombastic outburst of joy that the audience could latch onto? A few heartfelt words of thanks to his friends, a grander thank you to Amy, a final acknowledgement of his growth as a person would have been the perfect capstone to a 12-year journey. The absence of a big emotional release left fans wondering if The Big Bang Theory had grown too comfortable with its formula. It felt like the show tried to do something new, but in doing so, missed the mark on what made us love these characters in the first place. Their willingness to embrace big moments, flaws and all, with excitement, humor, and emotion. While that final Nobel Prize moment might have disappointed, the legacy of The Big Bang Theory still lives on. The characters, their growth, and the relationships we witnessed over the years will always be remembered fondly. And although the lack of a reaction in that one scene felt off, it doesn't define the entire show. In the end, The Big Bang Theory was about more than just one big achievement. It was about the small victories, the friendships, and the unexpected twists in life that made us laugh, cry, and think. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with us.